I'm Ed Miller, and you are watching Stand Up Strong, the Brockton Election Division. Now, what we're going to be doing is you'll be seeing people who are candidates who are running for government to run our city. And as much as you look at, what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in Washington, D.C., the local election is going to be the ones who are going to decide how you're going to be treated, how our city is going to be run on a day-to-day business aspect, and how you're taxed as a homeowner. So these are the real important elections you should be paying attention to. I'm sitting here with Richard Ripley, and he is running for mayor of Brockton. He's Richard Ripley. He is running for mayor here in Brockton. And that is a very important seat, as I don't have to tell you. He has some reasons why he's running. We're going to ask him some questions, and he's going to tell you because he is a issues-driven candidate. Richard, thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Ed.
I appreciate you taking your time.
I appreciate you having me here.
Now, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that I'm asking all the people who are running because this is some of the big things that are happening here in Brockton. As we all know, they are buying the fairgrounds. And I always said back maybe in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, having a fair was great, but that kind of went out with all the entertainment, unfortunately with all the entertainment that we can get by going to other cities. But that's a question to be asked later.
Okay.
But they're going to be purchasing 66 acres from what I understand is somewhere between $53 and $55 million. The land at 66 acres, it's prime land for business. But do you feel that's an idea that we should be going with? As just a resident, how do you feel about buying that land and trying to cultivate it to bring business in here?
Well, I mean, from what I understand about the fairgrounds is it's zoned into small areas, so you can't do anything huge with it. I mean, you could put a casino in, yes, but it's the small zoning. But me personally, what I would like to see, Brockton needs a destination spot for people to come. Downtown is not it. Downtown is not what it was when I grew up here in Brockton in the 60s and 70s. And there's no destination spot in Brockton right now that I'm aware of where you can, for families and groups of people. What I'd like to see at the fairgrounds is, of course, it have to be it can't be one thing. I'd like to see some apartments on one end, but on Belmont Street, it needs to be, because it's still, I know some people say it's too far from Route 24, but it's not. It's a straight shot 1 mile down the road. It's not that far away. Now, what I'd like to see is, I've traveled around the country over the last few years, and I've lived in a lot of major cities in the country, and I'd like to see more restaurants, a nightclub, a movie theater. Brockton doesn't have a movie theater. Brockton needs some decent department stores. For example, the other day I needed a robe, a bathrobe. I'm one of the guys, I still like to wear a bathrobe. And I needed a shirt, and I needed some shoes. And there's no place in the city of Brockton for a man my age, 67, to go buy a decent robe or a dress shirt. You can go up the mall, but those are low quality. They're not a real men's dress shirt. If I wanted to get anything, I have to go out to Braintree, and I think that's wrong. Brockton needs to figure out a way to get more, I want to say, like high-end normal stores here. There's nothing here in Brockton right now for anyone to come here for, unless you're coming to see family. Like downtown, there's nothing. Unless you're going to the police station, to the bus station, or you're going to court. There's nothing downtown other than the YMCA and the library. I'm not being negative, I'm just being honest. They talk about redeveloping downtown, like the mayor made a big deal. Oh, we put a new apartment building in for residents. Where are they gonna go? There's nowhere for them to go downtown. If they wanna go out and have a decent nightlife, there's a few places in Brockton, some restaurants and some nightclubs, but you need a place with a grouping of nightclubs and restaurants. I'd like to see more family-oriented things and a part of the fairgrounds, depending on the zoning. I don't know the exact measurements of the zoning, but when I was a kid, we used to love going putt-putt with the family. The whole family would go, and we'd have a hell of a time doing putt-putt. We'd go bowling. We'd just go out, and you need I'd like to see part of the fairgrounds sort of like a big wide boulevard with sidewalks and some nice restaurants and nightclubs where there's hanging plants. You can sit out there with some music playing and have a cup of coffee, have a nice dinner or lunch, and there's nothing like that there. But at the same time, I understand the tax base. You need to have industries that are going to support the tax base, but the city has to decide, you can't just go for the tax base. You've got to build it up over time. You've got to give people a reason to come to the fairgrounds area. And from what I can see, and again, I'm not being negative, I'm being honest, there is nothing there. Well, that specific part of where the fairgrounds is, you've got a few places. If you want to go shopping to Shaw's, or you've got to go to the VA hospital, or you're part of the high school. Other than that, there's a Burger King, there's a couple of shops, but there is no real reason for anyone to go to that part, to anywhere, really, much of anywhere in Brockton, to be totally honest. Brockton needs to build up the industries and the businesses to give people a reason, like a destination is a good word, to come. There's really not a reason for anyone to come downtown, to go to the west side. There's a few nice places when you get further up where Rom's is. There's some nice little, there's a bagel shop I like and things like that. But the fairgrounds, and it's going to take years. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a very, very long time. But I would like eventually to see more family-orientated things and a reason for someone to go down there. Now, for me personally, I'm 67 years old. I don't want to speak for the younger people in the city. I don't know them. But for me personally, there's absolutely no reason for me to go down there. Absolutely zero reasons. Now, I did go down there to get my license, my license for my registration. Yes, I did that. But other than that, and again, I don't want to be negative all the time, but there's no reason for someone to come. If you could talk to anybody outside of Brockton, I'm sorry, but they'll tell you the same thing. Oh, good, no, I'm not going to go to Brockton. No, it's not a place to go for someone sitting at home. It's 3 in the afternoon. Oh, where are we going to go tonight? Brockton's not going to be on the list.
Okay, and you're going to be one of the few people I asked this question because it only came out this past weekend. 96.9 used a travel site, and they called Brockton the ugliest city in Massachusetts. Now, I always say, that may be subjective, but the problem with Brockton is that we're a factory city. And being a factory city, all our buildings are made of brick, and you really can't make brick look better than it is, even if you put up a false facade. But there are a lot of other issues. What do you feel about that saying that they said, and what do you think that we can do, maybe tweak it so Brockton does look a little better?
Well, when you first said that, my mind went to the crime in the city. Brockton is a very high crime city. From what I understand, it's out of the 4th or the 6th highest rate of crime. You've got to stop the crime. You've got to get the crime under control. I don't know what that's going to take. You've got your new what are they calling it? Multi-use, where the old high school is. Mm-hmm. That's going to be okay. You have the state police there and all that. But the crime in the city is terrible. I mean, I'm afraid to go walk the streets at night downtown. I'm afraid to go walking anywhere in Brockton by myself. I hate to say that, but I am. The crime is terrible, mm-hmm. and I don't know I don't have any magic fixes for it, but I think the city leaders will need to sit down and decide, okay, what do we want Brockton to be in 30 years? What do we want? And then do your stuff, gear it to what you want it to be. But there's going to be a clash because Brockton's an immigrant city. It's not like other cities, and so it's going to have to be multi-use things. Can't be one simple thing. But Brockton has to give people a reason to want to come here. And I'm sorry, but if I wasn't here, there'd be no reason for me to come here. And again, I'm not being negative.
No, I think we hear that from a lot of people, that they feel that way. What's going to attract people in, and where can you buy anything?
Yeah, I was surprised. I'm being honest. I could not find a men's robe or a nice men's dress shirt, in a package in a store like on a Macy's or Bloomingdale's or some, not that high end, but something other than what we currently have in Brockton. If you want to do any decent shopping in Brockton, you have to go to Braintree or somewhere else, or Stoughton even. but there's no place in Brockton to buy, I don't want to say normal things, but yeah, it's normal life things you need as you go through life. Hey, my shoes broke. Okay, I need a new pair of shoes. Tell me, where are you going to go in Brockton to buy a decent pair of shoes? I'm being honest, where? Okay. I don't know of any place.
What I want, a lot of the businesses here, what's here in the center, Brockton Center, are all, and they've been talking about this for decades, is turning Main Street back into a two-way. Do you think that's feasible?
You're talking about the businesses on Main Street or turning two-way?
Having traffic go two ways instead of having it a one-way.
In the back of my mind, I would like to see no traffic at all on Main Street and just have it a walking area.
Well, I know they were talking about that a while ago up on Legion Parkway.
Oh, Legion Parkway is terrible.
Yeah, to make it and have businesses come move in there. But you never, you hear something how long, it goes for.
Because right now, I mean, like I said before, downtown, there's no reason for someone to come. So if you want to make the city a two-way street or one-way street, first thing you got to do is decide, well, why are people going to come down there? You need some decent restaurants and shops and a reason for people to come downtown. Because really, truly, right now, and I'm not knocking the businesses. They're there. They're making money. They're doing what they need to do. But for someone from what Brockton should be 30 years from now, it's going to have to change from what it is now, and it's going to take a lot of fighting to get that. But people are going to have to come to a compromise, and somehow to move Brockton into the future. Because if Brockton continues going the way it's done now, well, I don't know. In my mind, then you might as well just bulldoze the whole of downtown, or maybe leave City Hall. But everything else needs to be bulldozed and started over again, plan it ahead and redevelop it, because you got to decide, okay, this is where we want Brockton to be in 30 years. How are we going to get there? I'm sure there's discussions are being had somewhere. They're being had, but I don't know what's going on with them. But Brockton, from what it was when in the 60s and 70s, when I call it the heyday, or in my lifetime it was the heyday of Brockton, it was really nice. I mean, you had a reason to go downtown. There were people, there were stores. And it was so nice. Now, I don't know what happened between then and now, because I left for a few years. I went to Boston. But when I came back, it was an eye-opener.
I have to agree with you there. I didn't grow up in Brockton. I lived in the area. But I remember there were times that my family would come here. They'd go to the outlets that they had. And then we would go to the Cape Way, or we'd go up to one of the other nicer restaurants they have, which we don't have anymore.
Christo's was beautiful. I worked there, Christo's, in the Gold Room when I opened. I used to love the Nelson family over at the Tip Top Cafe. Yeah. When I came back to Brockton, I went down towards where the Tip Top Cafe is. Oh, good Lord, it's like a war zone. You need to carry a gun to survive down there. It should be a requirement.
Okay, I want to give you a few minutes because we're an issue-driven thing. I'm sorry, I got about 6 minutes that I can give you if you want to go over.
Okay, I'll just go to the hard points.
But now you have an issue that something happening with the BAT buses?
Yes. What's going on is the BAT buses. What happens is I was a victim 3 times. What happens is when you get on the bus, they move the bus so quickly. And when you're an elderly person like myself, I'm 67 and I'm disabled. I got a bad knee, a bad back, a bad leg. It's my life. It's what I got to live with. And you're trying to put your money in the meter. Well, the bus is moving, and it's a very difficult thing to do. And I nearly fell 3 times. And if I was to fall with my back the way it is, I'd be stuck in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. But anyway, what I wanted to, I'll quickly say a few things. I don't have much time. I'll get to just the important stuff. Let's see. The reason I'm running for mayor is because Mayor Sullivan and his administration, including the police chief Brenda Perez, City Council President Susan DeCastro, and all of the city councilors here in Brockton. For the last 6 months, I've been fighting them to address the issue in Brockton, and they've been giving me the silent treatment on this extremely serious and ongoing threat to public safety that directly affects the lives of the most vulnerable people in our community, the elderly, the disabled, and children. I'm going to get back to children because that's a big point. Let's see. Now, Mayor Sullivan and his administration have decided that you, the good work, hard-working people of Brockton who ride BAT, which is the Brockton Area Transit, do not have the right to know that over the last few months, BAT has found approximately 50 of its drivers guilty, some multiple times, of violating the laws and policies in place to keep you safe on the bus. And that is the truth. Everything I have is documented here. I'll share the documents with anyone who wants them. Let me explain what 50 drivers means. BAT has less than 100 employees in Brockton and the 9 surrounding towns of Brockton. I won't read them all because I don't have time. But Brockton and all the surrounding towns, less than 100 employees. 50 of their drivers have been found guilty of driving in a way that endangers public safety. That is more than half their drivers. So when you get on a bus, you have a 50% chance of getting a driver who's been found guilty and penalized by BAT for driving to endanger your life. Some of the things that go on is, I said that one, what happens is the bus drivers shut the doors on passengers as they're going out the back door of the bus, when their arms and hands are still in the bus, dragging people down the street. This has happened a few times. Another example is I've spoken with some of the drivers, and they tell me that it's because the management pressures them to stay on schedule. Now, just a few days ago, I witnessed and reported an incident to both BAT and Mayor Sullivan. The bus driver drove off into traffic with a passenger was standing at the fare box with the bus doors wide open. And if the bus driver was driving in traffic, if he had to hit those brakes, that passenger would have gone backwards, and he would have been laying flat on the street. God knows if he was dead or not. Now, I have many other documents and incidents which the drivers hit the brakes while passengers are at the fare box, and the passenger's whole body jolts back just like that, and at the last moment, they grab hold of something to stop themselves from falling. I reported over 80 incidents to BAT of this going on, and BAT investigated each one. And the vast majority of my complaints were ruled valid. And each one of those drivers, a lot of them were multiple drivers, they were punished by BAT. Now, I also have a very detailed report of a dangerous and scary incident concerning a kid from West Union High School who was stuck at the front of the bus for an extended period of time while the driver was driving in traffic down West Elm Street. Mayor Sullivan, I don't know if you guys are aware, but Mayor Sullivan is chairman of BAT's advisory board for Brockton and the 9 surrounding communities. So he's well aware of what's going on. Plus, I've kept him well up to date of what's going on. Now, due to the fact that for the last 6 months, Mayor Sullivan has known that a tragedy could happen at any moment, but has still chosen to gamble with the lives of innocent Brocktonians instead of acting responsibly and publicly addressing this issue with the people. I believe that Mayor Sullivan has crossed the line and has become dangerous and harmful to the physical safety of the people in Brockton who take the bus. They have a right to know that when you get on a bus, you have a right to know that over the last few months, BAT has punished 50 of their drivers, found them guilty of driving in a way that endangers your safety and the safety of your children. I believe that's important information that the people have a right to know. I wanted to read couple of quick sentences that
We got about a minute left.
Oh, I don't have time. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, I don't know what exactly it's going to take. First of all, there was a plot to kill me by the bus drivers. These same bus drivers threatened to kill me. There's a police report on this. There's a report with the district attorney's office. The mayor knows about it. And even with the fact that that BAT admitted everything, that my life was threatened by they were going to kill me if I didn't stop reporting them for driving illegally. Even that did not convince Mayor Sullivan to address this issue with the people. That didn't even register with him. So I don't know what it's going to take for Mayor Sullivan to say, hey, we got to do something. So I won't, and I don't know if it's going to take, I'm sorry to say it this way, but I don't know if it's going to take a dead 14-year-old kid or a senior citizen lying on the floor of the bus with a broken hip. And the Brockton Enterprise and WATD News also know everything that's going on. I talked to them. I said, I'll sit with you. I'll answer all your questions. I'll give you every document you want. But please address this. This is a serious issue. It must be addressed. I'm trying to prevent a tragedy. I don't want a kid to get hurt. And now I'll sit with the mayor and meet with him at any time to discuss this.
I want to ask one question because you brought up, now you're saying the bus drivers threatened to kill you?
Yes.
And you said it's documented with
the Brockton Police Department and the district.
Did they have an investigation, either one?
No. What I think they determined that the way it was said to me, it was just like a warning. But when someone says to you, if you don't stop reporting the drivers, they know who you are and they're going to come after you. Now, I determined they're not going to come after me to shake my hand and take me out to lunch. They're going to come after me to cause me serious bodily harm.
Okay. I appreciate it. We got to end the show, but I appreciate it. We're still going to be having more interviews.
Oh, I got a lot.
And I'm going to say thank you for everybody who's listening. And everybody who'd watch, remember, these elections are ones who are going to show who is going to run the city in your day-to-day life. Thank you, and have a great night.